First thing first, we're going to use Google Maps to identify some points of interest around the intersection, around the King-Eisenberg intersection. In an Excel spreadsheet, we'll download that spreadsheet, which we will then geocode using ArcGIS Online. The second thing you're going to all need is you're going to all need to have to create an Esri account, right? So because we will be using ArcGIS Online, and we're going to be using Storymaps, which is two of the applications that they provide. So you're going to need to create an Esri account. I'll do that right here as a demo, and then there's detailed instructions for you. And then we'll be downloading some GIS data from online resources. In this case, we'll be downloading some data from Hawaii. And we'll be creating a map, right? So we'll geocode the addresses, we'll add the data, we'll create a very simple map on ArcGIS Online. And then I'll tell you about what Storymaps are, okay? Everything's here. You'll have the instructions and you'll have time tomorrow to work on it. So don't worry about any of that. Okay, so first thing first, you're all familiar with Google Maps. Can you all see my screen? Yes, okay. So I'm going to go to Google Maps. And then in the instructions, you will see that I've created Excel files, spreadsheets that is shared with you. The link is in the instructions. But I have a sample template here, which I'll use myself. I'm just going to open that up. So, and then I'm going to go to Google Maps, and I'm going to zoom into our intersection, which is right here. Okay. And then maybe I'll switch. I just personally prefer the satellite view. Okay, so we're going to think about what type of, let me take this off. Don't need it. We're going to think about what type of services pedestrians and people on their bikes who cross our intersections will be looking for, right? Of course, there's going to be some exceptions. There's going to be people who are just passing through to go somewhere. But if you think about the people who are going to be using some service or facility that's very close to our intersection, we'll just go to Google Maps. And the great thing about Google Maps is that it gives us all these businesses and services, right? Restaurants, supermarkets, different types of things, right? I put in the Google Map 2 samples. I have the Mr. Scooters Hawaii, that's the mocha shop right at the intersection. I got the address from Google Maps. It's 2338 South King Street, Honolulu, Hawaii. Zip code is 96826. The name of the business and the type of business, I just put shop, right? Again, so we're going to just use 4 different types. We're going to use shops, restaurants, cultural facilities, and recreation. Something like a park, we would consider that recreation. So this would be uniform between everyone for our practice, right? And then I have another one, 946 Coolidge Street. It's the Kahai Street Kitchen, which is right here. So if I go here, I click on it, it gives me the address. So 946 Coolidge Street, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96826, right? And I'm gonna do another one, just as a sample. We have India Market. It's at 2357 South Britannia Street, right? And let's stick to everything that's pretty close by, right? So for you guys, I'm just gonna do one more, and I'm gonna do the geocoding with 3 samples. But for your exercise, I'm gonna ask you in your groups to do 20 more. It's easy, you just find things that are around, click on it on Google Maps, copy the address, and input it onto that Excel sheet that you have for your group, okay? So for India Market, this is the address. I'm just gonna go here and paste, that's the address. Oh, I don't know if this same. It's Hawaii. Zip code is the same. It's called India Market. And the type is also shop, right? But the address, I just need the street address, right? I just need the street name and the number. Okay, there we have it. So you guys are going to make quite a few more. So you'll go all the way to about 22, 23. If you have time and you want to add more, that would be great, but at least do an additional 20. And then I'm going to go and download this file to my computer. Oh, so because I'm going to download things on my computer here. Oh, screen sharing is paused. Oh, okay. Why can't you see my screen? Why would it not show the screen? Oh, I have to show the desktop. Okay. So now you can see the desktop. I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm just going to call it tax step GIS. Okay. So I have my folder that I'm going to download different data. Then I'm going to go back here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to download the data. But the data that is used by GIS software always is it's not in the format of Excel, which is .xlsx. It's going to be in the format .csv, which you can see here. So it's comma separated value, which is the standard format that is recognizable for geocoding by GIS software. Okay, I'm just going to download this folder. Take this from here. Back to my desktop, my folder, and just paste it here. Right. So you can download it directly into your working folder. It's all in the instructions. So just look at what I'm doing right now. You don't need to learn anything at this moment. Just get a sense of what you're trying to do. And you can just use the instructions to follow all of that. Right. So I have that, and we're done with Excel file. So you guys will be making about 20 more locations, right? So done with this part. Now I'll go into creating an Esri account. So I'm going to say Esri account. I'll go to this link. It asks me to create a username. I'm just going to call it tax step. Oh, sorry. I don't have a username and password yet. So I'm going to create a public account. I'm going to call it tax step Hawaii. You can use your name or your nickname if you prefer. Tax step Hawaii @gmail.com. And then you guys will be using your emails, your personal emails. And confirm the email and agree to all their legal applications. And then they will send me an email. So go back here and just wait for Esri to send me an activation link. I'll click on that, and now it's asking me to create a username. So I'm just going to call it tax step. Use the password. Use whatever password you want. And then I'm going to ask you to retype your password. There'll be a security question. Just put whatever security question you want. Create account. And there you go. Oh, I don't need this part. What is this? This does not show my computer. telling me, welcome, you have an account with Esri now. It's still trying to tell me other things, but not now, we don't need that. And then you have to fill out this form. This form, you just need to fill out the parts that have a red star. So first name, last name. Again, you could use your nickname if you don't want to use your name. And then you have to choose a language. So English, country, United States, and nothing else has a red star next to it. So I'm just going to leave all of that blank and I'm going to press update. All right. And then once you get to this screen, you can just close this. You don't need to do anything else. This is just their product. They're trying to say how you can use their different products and you can buy their different products, but we're going to be using their free versions. So we're done with that. That would be, well, you all will have about 10 minutes to create your account. So don't worry about it. I just tried to do this really quickly. Then I'm going to go to, we're going to create our first map, right? So I'm going to go to download data. And I'm going to Honolulu GIS data. Okay. This one, again, the link is in the instructions. And I'm going to think about what kind of data I'm going to download, right? So you could download this tons of publicly available data for many places. For Hawaii and anywhere in the United States, there's just millions of data sets, right? GIS ready data that you can download. And you can use that for analysis. But for now, we're just trying to create a map and show some of the services around our intersection. So we thought, okay, so let's look for bus stops. We want to show where the bus stops are relative to our site. This map is an interactive map. It shows you all the bus stops on Oahu, but I want to download this data because I'm going to be creating my own map, right? So I'm going to press download. Again, this is all in your instructions. Everything is, I've put red markers around everything you need to do. And I'm going to download it in the format that is a shape file. I don't need the table or other things. I need the whole data package that someone talked about. It's called shape files. It's a vector data. Just going to press download. And then I'm going to download the bus routes. So I'm going to search bus route. Again, bus routes. Click on that. It shows you all the bus routes on Oahu, but I want to download it. So download shapefile. Okay, that gets downloaded as well. I'm going to also look for police stations. And then download that. So that's another data set. And then I'm going to also look for fire stations. Fire stations, and then download, right? So there's many places that you can download data from. This is a great place to use if you need data for Honolulu and for Oahu. The state has its own GIS data source, right? That they work on different things and they upload the data for students, for researchers, for the public, so you can download data, do analysis in GIS. There's also the University of Hawaii Library has their own lab, a big GIS lab in the library. It's called MAGIS, right? So MAGIS. They also have a lot of maps, especially they have historical maps. So if you're going to do some historical work on Hawaii to see what it was like, aerial pictures, where the fish ponds were, things like that, they have tons of that data that you can download. But for now, we're sticking with something a little more simple. So we have all our data downloaded. I just have to move these data to my working folder that I created, and you guys will also be creating. I have it here, and I'm just going to paste. Right, so they're all zip files that I just downloaded. Now, we're ready to move on to the next part, which is to create our first map, right? So we're gonna use the free service that's provided by Esri. It's called ArcGIS Online. So you search for ArcGIS Online. The link is in your instructions. You go to ArcGIS Online. You might need to log in. Oh, but I think because you're logged in already, it should remember our credentials. If not, you just created an account, use the username and password, and get into ArcGIS Online. Here you see PackStep Hawaii in the top right corner. And I'm going to go, it has different features, but what we want to do is we want to create our first map. So I'll click on map, and it will open up an empty map for me, right? And then I'm going to find Honolulu. You can also, if you want to search, if it's hard for you to find something on the map, you could just search the address here, right? So you could search Eisenberg Street, Honolulu, and it will take you right there, right? But this is the south part of Eisenberg. This is where our intersection is, right? And there are many different free base maps that ArcGIS Online provides for you. So this is one of their base maps that's there. You can change the base map anytime by just clicking here. Someone join. Okay, by clicking on the base map option here. You create base map, and they give you tons of different cool maps that you could use, like human geography, dark. But maybe this is not exactly what I'm looking for right now. But for yourself, and then when you work with your group, choose whatever base map you think looks the nicest or has the most meaning or shows the most features that you want. All the things that Suhan just talked about what is a good map, or newspaper map, right? So there's all these different options. I'm just gonna use this one called navigation. All right, so now we're ready to add data into our ArcGIS Online map, okay? So you see up here, there's a button that says add. And because all the stuff we have are files that we have on our computer, you could add layers from the web. It has its own tricks, but that's not what we're going through right now. We're just gonna add layers from files. I'll say, and it tells you can different types of files that you can import into ArcGIS Online. One of them are shape files, but it has to be in the format of a zip file, which is great because the data we downloaded was already in the format of a zip file. You can import CSV, right, comma delimited format of a spreadsheet. That's a world standard for GIS and other types. But right now we have shape files and a CSV file with our addresses. So I'm just gonna, first of all, geocode the addresses. So I'm gonna go to the desktop, gonna find my working folder, and there is my CSV file. I'm gonna click that, import layer, and it tells me, yeah, this is the type of file that I think it is. It's addresses for places in the United States. I'm like, yeah, this all looks good. Add layer. And through the magic of geocoding that is done on the engines, on the servers of ArcGIS Online, all our data points are now imported, right? So, well, in our case, I just have 3 points, but you guys will have much more. And you can see this is one of them. This is Mr. Scooters. This is India Market that I just added. And this is the Kahai Street Kitchen that I had added before. And now I can choose the style, right? So you can change the symbology. These are just points on your map, but you can represent the point in any way you want. You can represent it with different colors, different shapes, different sizes. I'm going to you can try out different things, whatever you think is the best. And it's asking me choose the attribute to show. So you can choose location only if I don't care about the different types of attributes that my data has, which might be useful, you'll see in a minute. But what we have right now that's the most useful one is type. I want to show what types of services are around, and we're going to color code that. So I'm just going to choose type, which is shops, restaurants, cultural facilities, and recreation. And then here, I'm going to say what type of symbology I want them to have. I want my symbols to be circles. I'm going to make them pretty big. I want them to be very clear on the map. And again, if you, yeah, here, so now they're much bigger in size, right, on my map. And I zoom out, they're still pretty big and obvious in the map. Again, if you do something, you don't like it, you can go into the menu and change the symbology. You can be like, oh, I prefer to not have the shops show as red. I want them to show with a different color. I want them to be yellow or orange. Okay, go there and it just updates itself, and you can always make these changes whenever you want. That's it. You press OK and done, and now you have your points on your map. I am going to add the other data that we downloaded, the ones that we downloaded from the state website, from the, sorry, city and county website. One of them is bus stops. Just going to choose bus stops, open, and just choose the first option here, and import layer. And you have to wait because it's going to grab all the data from your computer and map them out on your map. So these are all the bus stops, but it's showing them by something called bus stop I, which I think is probably the bus stop ID. So the size of each of the points is relevant to the number of the bus stop. You know, in Honolulu, each bus stop has their own number. So bus stop 56, it's on Kuhio Avenue. Bus stop 983, it's on University Avenue. And it's doing different sizes based on that, but that's not really what I want, right? The bus stop ID number is not really something that I want. I just want to show the bus stops wherever they are with the same symbology. So I'm going to choose an attribute to show. I'm just going to say, just show me the location. I don't need them to be different sizes or different colors. These are my bus stops, and black is a good color. Perhaps for bus stops, maybe we can do blue. That would be a more standard color for a bus stop. So I'll go here, I'll go OK. You see now my bus stops are now blue color. But now you can see, I can look at the map and I can see, oh, there's a bus stop right by Old Stadium Park. There's a bus stop right by the intersection in front of the First Hawaiian Bank. There's a bus stop behind this baseball area, the Moilili Park, which is right by Teddy's Bigger Burgers. That's another bus stop. So a lot of people who could be walking through or biking through the intersection might be using these bus stops. And there's a whole bunch of bus stops at the intersection between University, King, and Britannia, this big intersection here, right? And that's it. I'm going to add done. Okay, done. So now you see all the layers that we're adding are getting added here to the now. Okay, so you can see the different layers. The first one is our Excel file, which is the geocoded addresses. The second one is the bus stops. I'm just going to keep on adding, right? So I'm going to add our bus routes, import, and you have to wait sometimes. There you go. Now they're added, but this is not the scale that we want. We're going to zoom in back to our location, which is right here. And I want these also to just be showing the bus routes, right? So I'm just gonna do this and I'm just gonna stick with a black color. Done. Gonna add the other data that we downloaded, fire stations, import. Okay, now all the fire stations are imported. There's a fire station right here. So this black dot over here is the fire station, right? So I'm just gonna also for this, I'm just gonna say show the location, right? I don't need any attribute related to the fire stations. I just want to show them. I want to just show where they are, right? And that's that. I'm gonna add more data, and the last one is the police station. Import. Okay. And these are the police stations, but they have a strange symbology. So I'm just gonna, again, say I just want to show locations. All of these are in the instructions, so just bear with me. Done. And that's it. So now if you wanna, you have all these layers of data added. If you want to change anything about them, you just click on them. Let's say I'm like, oh, I don't want a black dot to be the representation of fire stations. I want to change it. So you go here, you can change style, also known as symbology. And you can be like, excuse me, let me have a water. Sorry about that. I could be like, you know what? I want to change the symbol and I want it to be a little diamond shape that's green and I want it to be very significant. I want it to be a very big on my map. So I'm gonna do this. Now you see that the fire station changed the symbology, right? And at the end of this, once you have everything, you just go here and you save. Ask you, what is the title of your map? I'm just gonna call it King Eisenberg data or whatever you like. For some reason, ArcGIS Online requires you to add a tag to anything that you save. I'm just going to add the tag Honolulu. And I'm going to save it in the folder. Just leave it the default and save map. And just give it a second to save your map into your folders. Now you have a map that you created that's saved on your ArcGIS Online account, right? And then there's many things you can do with this. You can share it with other people. You can do tons of things. You can print it out. You can go to print map, or print map with legend, see what options they have. And for example, I'm just gonna show you this one. Oh, I think there's something in the chat. Oh, blue is better. Yes. Okay. And it might sometimes, because these are, everything is based, it's not on your local computer, everything is based on the servers with Esri. I think the servers are probably in California. So sometimes something might take a little bit of time for your computer to communicate via the internet with their servers. That's okay. And now I have a map, right? And I can just print this out and do whatever I want with it, present it somewhere, or if you have a work meeting or something. So you have all these options, but the one that we're going to use, and this is going to be the basis for your final presentation, is something called Storymaps. Right? So, oh, first thing, I think I have time to show you a couple of story maps. I put a link to some very interesting story maps further down in the instructions here. I'll just go page down. Yeah, so some of these are story maps that were done in Hawaii. Some of them are award-winning story maps. So you don't need, you just click on them, scroll up and down, and get a sense for what a story map is. So this one is called Boots and Kimo's Pancakes in Japanese Language in Kailua. That some people, I think from the linguistics department at University of Hawaii, created this. So they have a map here. They have a story map. It's called Boots and Kimo's Pancakes in Japanese Language in Hawaii. They did it in February 2021. And then how is Japanese becoming so widespread in new places in Hawaii, in Kailua, this and that. And then they have, like, look at this map. It's very interesting. You can zoom in. And as you scroll through your map, it jumps to the different points. You could have pictures. You could have text or narrative that you want, and you can just scroll through the map, right? This is one example. So let's say you wanted to give a story about your summer camp here, and you want to say we visited these, we had these field trips and we visited these locations. You can have that on a map. You can scroll. You will first jump to the airport when we went to the airport. You could have pictures from the airport, our field trip at the airport, and then you could have a narrative, like we visited the airport on this day and we learned about construction of an airport terminal. And then another day, like we came here and we had our bike activity with Malia. So you can put a point on your map right here at University of Hawaii, and you could share pictures and again write a narrative. Something like this. You could give a tour on your presentation of what the activities were that you were doing. Don't worry, you'll have tons of time to do this. tomorrow, and we'll be here to help you. But it's quite simple. Like Storymaps, you just basically click, you say, I want to add image, you add the image, or I want to add a location. It's very, very easy to use. Okay, so I'm going to choose another one. This is, again, someone from University of Hawaii did this, a group, I know one of them actually. So a group of people did this, Finding Queen Emma's legacy at the international marketplace. So again, your story doesn't necessarily have to be a very technical or very geographical story. It could be any story, right? Like there's a statue of Queen Emma here at the international marketplace. You see, you're scrolling down. So there's text, the stories, the narrative of the story is on one side, there's pictures on the other side, and they're telling a story about the statue of Queen Emma at International Marketplace. I'm also gonna show you just another simple one. This one is keeping up with the Kuchis. They're nomadic tribes in Afghanistan. So this is the story map that was created. It has an introduction. You could share videos, right? So this is a video that's playing here of these nomadic people in Afghanistan. They've added maps, pictures, all types of things, and they're telling the story of who these people are. They've added different types of maps that show different things, right? This is another example. I wanted to show you this one. Yeah. So this one's about coffee, from soil to savior. And what is coffee and important is coffee? There's a beverage, where is it grown? There's a map here that they did something similar, like what we just did. We created our map on ArcGIS Online. This is a map from ArcGIS Online that they created, and it shows you the different regions in the world that coffee is grown with different properties. And there's a legend here that you can see what the temperature is and how it's used to create coffee. And here there's like different types of coffee, light roast, and then the picture changes. This is medium roast, and then dark roast, and how they work, right? So you can just explore these on the instructions. We have something in the chat. Can students from stories on them? Yeah. Did a groundbreaking? Yes, definitely. You just, if you have pictures or if you have a story, you could just add these content. And I'll just show you. I have about 10 minutes before we move on to the next stage. I'll just show you how you create your story map. So you search in Google, obviously, Storymaps. It opens ArcGIS Storymaps. It's the first link. Again, it's linked in your instructions. You go here. You should log in, but again, we're logged in already to our Esri account, so the computer remembers that. And I'm just going to go and create a new story. And I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to show you all the different features that are possible. It opens the story builder. Give it a second because it has to input all the features. And it tells me what is the title of your story. So I'm just going to call it our summer camp 2021. So don't think about exactly what I'm typing. I'm just showing you a demo, right? So I'm just going to do something quick. And then this is our story as a short introduction. And then you will always see these green buttons here, right? It's a green button with a plus sign in the middle. And then once you press that, it gives you all the options that you can use to create your story map, right? It's basically, think of it as a presentation with different blocks. And you add a block and you add a block and you keep adding blocks, right? You'll see some of them are grayed out. Those grayed out ones are for the paid version, if you have a paid version or organization account with Esri, but we don't really need that. You'll just stick to the ones that we have. And if you hover over any of them, it will tell you what it is. So I hover over text, it tells me add a paragraph or just a few words, and highlight text to change its color and do a bunch of things, right? So I'm just gonna add text. Now it gives me a block of text, and then I'll say we did this, we did that, right? And I'll just continue. So text, that's an option you have. And then again, you see this plus sign is always at the bottom of your story, right? So I'm just gonna press that. And this time I'm gonna add a map, right? So I'm gonna add a map and it automatically is linked to your ArcGIS Online account. Whatever maps you have created, it will pull them up. So this is the map that we just created together right here. So I'm just gonna add this map. It tells me there's different features you can play around with if you want. You can go and I want to show a legend of what all these dots are. So now there's a legend, police stations, fire station, bus routes, and different types of things. You can just play around with them. Nothing, it's very easy. Like if you do something and you don't like it, you could just delete that block and do it over again, right? I'm gonna change the zoom of my map. I want it to be more zoomed in here, and I'm gonna place map, right? Now the map is there. That's another block of my story. I can even change the text underneath my map. I'll just say location of services, something like this, right? And then I'll just keep on clicking to see what the other options are. I can just add image, right? It tells me to browse your files. You can have any image that you have. We're going to share a lot of images that Josh and Alan took during our camp visits. We just share them with you so you can download the ones that you want and then add them to your story map. So you go here and you browse your files. I already downloaded some of them. So I'm gonna go to our bike lesson and add this picture here, right? I'm like, okay, this is a picture that I want. I'll just add it here. There you go. I can add a caption if you want, and then you can keep on going. Like, so you can add images, you can add videos. This SWOT option is for comparing maps, so don't worry about this option. I wrote in the instructions. You don't really need to try it out. It's useful if you have different types of data, GIS data, and you're comparing a certain time to another time. Let's say you're looking at vegetation in Hawaii, right? So you have some data from the 1990s, and now you have data right now for Kailua, right? And you want to just show with a slider how it looked before and how it looked now. So you can just very quickly see how much, let's say, vegetation is lost, or how much a beach has eroded, right? So there are, maybe you have seen them in the news, like the beach over in Lanikai. It used to be a lot of beach, right? There was a lot of sand, and now all the sand is eroded. So you could just use that option. But that's for hopefully once you start doing engineering, and if you want to do GIS, maybe features you can use there. But the main options that we want to use are slideshow, sidecar, and map. So I'll just show a quick show you something about slideshows here. I can add a title if I want. I can add media. I'll just add some images, and I'm going to go back to my computer, and I'm going to go to our first day when we went to the intersection, right? These are just examples, right? So I'm just adding something here, and I'll just do a narrative. This is our site, right? So this keyboard is very strange. Okay, and then I want to add more. It's a slideshow. I want to add more images. I just press this button. It adds another point. It adds another picture placeholder. I'll just go to the images, and I'll add this one, right? And I'll add, right? And I'll just go. Oh, did I just delete that? No. I just pressed it. Okay. Our master. Oops. There, right? And then basically you're creating a slideshow, right? So you go from this picture with narratives, right? Other options include you can do a map tour. This is the one I was talking to you about. Just go start from scratch. You can see what the different styles are. I'll just do a guided one, and I'll just say it's map focused, right? You can try them all out. And then I'm gonna go here, gonna find Honolulu, gonna zoom in. If you need help to see where a location is, you can always find the location on Google Maps and compare it to the map so you can find the exact location. I am just gonna say we went to the airport, and I know where the airport is. This is where the airport is. I'm just gonna add location. Oh, zoomed out again. That's fine. I'll just find Wahoo. I'll find the airport right here. I'll add this location, add location, and I'm gonna add an image from our visit there. So we went to Honolulu Airport. I'll just add whatever image is there. I'll add it here, and I'll write presentation. Oh, didn't type. Sorry, this keyboard is very strange. Okay, right, and then you can write whatever you want, blah, blah, right? And then you can add another location. So this was the first thing that we did, right? Second location, I'm gonna add location. The second one, we did a bike tour right here at UH. So there's University of Hawaii. And this was the parking lot that we were at. Gonna add another location, add images, find whatever image that you want. I'm just gonna add an image from our bike ride, right? And these are very small. I'm not sure what I'm adding, so I hope no one gets upset. I'm just clicking on something. And then add, right? And then somewhere else that we went was we went to, what was another place we went? Oh, we went to Elemental Accelerator in downtown. I'm just gonna go here, find downtown. I think it was around here so that you can find the exact location. I'll just say this was my other place, other location, add image or video. And I don't know if you have pictures on that day, but let's say again, let's just say that, yeah, we do. Let's say this was the presentation happening on that day. And you can write. And then I just wanted to add some few points so you can see how it works, right? So if someone is on your map, on your story map, they see the slideshow, they come down, now they're seeing the Honolulu airport with picture and narrative. They scroll down, it moves to the other place. It's a guided map tour, right? So it moves to University of Hawaii. This is the activity that we did. And then you scroll down, further down, and you get to accelerate it, right? So this is very useful. And that's it. So I'm at 3. I'm gonna try to make sure that we're at least on schedule partially for today. And then you don't need to save anything. It automatically saves. So you can just close this. Next time you come to Storymaps, RTS Storymaps, next time you open and you log in, your story maps or however many story maps you created are already there. You can just click and get back to editing. And then eventually, once you're done with it, you can share it with other people, right? You could save it online and share the link with other people and say, hey, this is what we did during the summer. You could do it with many things. You could, maybe there's something about your neighborhood or your community that you want to create a story for. Pictures, maybe some maps, maybe some locations. You want to tell a story. You can use this option. It's free and it's very easy to use, right? Everything I said, they are in the instructions. So now, because we did take a break, I'm going to just move on to the first part. So you guys are going to do all this stuff that I did in about 30 minutes. You're going to have time to do all of it, right? And then again, you'll do story maps tomorrow, right? You'll create your story maps with your group. You'll chat. You'll decide what pictures you want to use, how you want to tell your story. I've included a tentative structure, but you can always change it to whatever you like and then use the tool. So now you're going to be looking at the agenda at number 1, right? So using Google Maps for identifying points of interest and inputting addresses to your groups. And you'll have 20 minutes to do this. Again, just add 1 hour. It's going to be from 3 to 3:20. So you're going to do part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. And then the story maps, we'll just start working on it tomorrow. So part 5, which was supposed to get started today, we'll just do all of it tomorrow, right? Because we were just a little bit behind schedule. Okay, so I'm gonna open the first part is, yeah, you have to go to your breakout rooms. I've already created created the breakout rooms. I might need to make a couple of small adjustments if other people are joined in. So give me a second so I can see how the breakout rooms are. Just give yourself a 1-minute break. And welcome back, everyone. I hope you got to finish that. And if you didn't, the next part, you're going to just be creating an Esri account, which I put 10 minutes for it. You might be able to do it much faster. And if you fell behind, you can just finish up, or whatever amount of data you already put in your Excel file, just download it as a CSV file so you can use it for the upcoming sections. So don't worry about it too much if you didn't get to like 20 something points, but I'm sure you guys are all really good with computers. You probably all got that in order. So I'm gonna screen share here. Now we're gonna move to the second section, which is creating an Esri account to use for GIS Online and Storymaps. Yeah, you saw me doing it. It's very simple, and instructions are there. And maybe take about 10 minutes to do this. I'll keep this main room open because they might have questions. And then for the next section, we'll move to your breakout rooms. So just gonna give you 10 minutes to set up your account. All right, thank you.